Hello everyone. So today we are going to be making a very simple happy birthday card with some florals. So let's start off with the materials. I am going to be using this Canson Graduate watercolor paper. Now you can use any kind of paper, preferably thicker, so not just like regular copy paper. I like this paper because it has like a little bit of a tooth to it, so it gives it a nice texture. And I'm going to be using these Caron markers, Real Brush Pro markers. They have a nib that's like a brush, but you can use any brush pens you like. You could even use markers. And then you do need some sort of fine liner. I'm using the Marvi Uchida Le Pen Drawing. It's just like a black fine liner. And then some washi tape. Okay, so first we will need our paper. So I am just going to fold this in half first. Now, because it's a thicker paper, as you can see, there's a harder time with making a nice crease. You can just use a pen or pencil and just push on the edge and it gives it a nice crease. All right, so now we have our card. This is a little bit bigger of a card because it's a 9x12 piece of paper folded in half. So if you want something smaller, you could always cut it or however you want, whatever size you want, but I'm just gonna keep it this size. So I am going to use my washi tape to block off. We want the words to be in the middle. So this is a happy birthday card, so I'm gonna just block off the top. And then also right in here. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. We're trying to make this like a quick, easy, simple card that anyone can do. So I don't want to make it too complex. So basically when we are doing these florals, we're just not going to go anywhere on the inside because that's where our writing will be. So the colors that I have, the color palette that I've chosen is a pale pink, soft peach, curry, which is a green, an olive green, and then canary for the centers. We're going to be doing just a very simple style of flower, just like this. So we're going to just do some simple petals, some five petal flowers, and then we're going to go over it with the fine liner. So I'll start with, it doesn't matter what color you start with, but I'm going to start with the lighter pink color, the soft peach. And to make these flowers, we are just going to do one stroke, which you do light pressure, then heavy pressure, then light pressure again. And same thing on the other side, light pressure, heavy pressure, and then light pressure again to make that tip. So we're just gonna go around, do the same thing. And again, it does not have to be perfect. And it will overlap on the tape, and that's okay. That's the look we're going for. Okay, so while this is still wet, I'm gonna go in with my canary color and just dab a center. And you can leave some blank spots, it doesn't matter. Now I'm gonna go in with my pale pink, the darker pink color, even though it says pale pink. And we're just gonna do the same thing. Light pressure, heavy pressure, light pressure. And you can just be really flowy. Again, it doesn't matter what these petals really look like. They will eventually be, there will be some distraction with the black lines, so that's okay. Now we're going to add in the yellow canary color and just dot in the center. And because it's still wet, sometimes the color will expand a little, which is nice. It gives it a nice watercolor effect. All right, so we're gonna go back to that soft peach color. And you can see I'm kind of varying the height too, because we don't want them to all be just at the same height, because it doesn't really look natural and organic. So if your petals do touch, that's okay. So we're gonna come in with our yellow color and just again dab in the center. Thing I like about these brush pens is you can just use them like you have a paintbrush, so it has a really fine tip. I do like to leave some white space too on some of the flowers to give it more natural look. You don't have to. If you're used to doing them like this, that's totally fine. Okay, so we're going to repeat the same process down here, and don't worry, we're going to add in some greenery, but we're just going to let that dry a little bit before we add in the greenery. So same process down here, except this time, just to vary it up, let's start with the darker pink. All right, so let's add some green in. So I have two different types of green, curry and olive green, and I'm just gonna vary the colors. So the leaves are very similar, and I'm also gonna make some stems. And again, I'm gonna start over here, just connect it. I'm gonna do all the stems in this curry color. One thing about doing stems, you don't want to just make it a straight line down. That'll make it look really unnatural. So I'm going to do the same thing from this way. I'll start over on this side. Okay. Now I will start adding in some leaves. So the leaves are similar to the petal. So you do light pressure, then heavy pressure, then light pressure again. That makes one side of the leaf. So I like to work in areas where I see some blank white space. So I'm gonna make a leaf here. And it's okay if it overlaps over the flower a little bit, that's fine. Or if you want it to look like it's behind the flower, then you need to skip some area. So like if I'm gonna do a leaf here, then I would stop here where the petal starts and then restart where the petal is not. And that will give it the look that it's behind it. Also, I did change over my green color just so that you guys know. I also like to add in some long greenery like this right here. So where I just create a very long stem and then add some leaves to the end. So we will do that here, just where I see some blank spots. Let's do one here. And again, I'm making it appear as though it's behind the flower. So see, there's some overlapping and that's okay. I'm gonna go back in with my other color and just again draw some leaves coming off of these stems. And if you don't like to work upside down like what I'm doing right now, you can always flip your card that way, because I understand it's not always easy to work upside down. But again, just be careful with the smearing. You definitely don't want to smear your... Okay, and then I'll just draw some longer ones. Especially right here, you can see there's a big empty space. And again, it does not have to be like a nice straight line up, because that makes it look so unnatural, and that's what will make your piece look like you took a lot of time on it versus you just rushed right through it. Okay, so we want to make sure this is fully dry before we add in the black. So we will let this dry and then we'll come back and add in our black fine liner. Okay, so now that it is dry, we are going to take our black fine liner, and over the flowers, we are going to start with that. So the easiest way to do it is, again, it doesn't have to be outlining the center perfect or the petals perfect. You just want to create a rough, bumpy line to outline the center of the flower, and then from there, you're going to just create some petal shapes. Now, again, it doesn't have to be perfectly around the border of the petal. It kind of, I think it actually looks better if it's a little offset. So if you want to, you can leave this card like this. You don't have to add in the details that I'm about to add in, but I am going to add in just these little veins that are coming up from the flower. So when you're doing this, to give it more dimension, you want to always have it curved. So you start from the center and then you curve your way out. And again, these are just like light strokes. I'm not like pushing down really hard the whole time. I'm just light stroke around. And then also I do just a couple from the top. But again, you want to do it with a curved line. If you do a straight line, that will not give it any dimension. So nice curved line, and then same from up here. Curved, and you can do a little one. Same thing, curved. Okay, so you can either stop there and not add in the details, or you can add in these extra little details. I think it just gives it a nice contrast. Okay, so now that we've drawn all those veins, again, like I said, I think it's worth it. It does take a little bit of time, but I really like the contrast. So now we can peel off the tape, and we have just a nice clean border where we will write our message, happy birthday. So the style that we're going to use is, I call it the poppy style. I have a workbook if you're interested, but it's like a typewriter font. This is what it looks like. I really like it because it's clean, crisp, and it's like hand lettered at the same time. So if you are interested, I have these printable worksheets in my Etsy shop, but sometimes I'll just reference it if I need to when I am writing my letters. Now, I am going to just freehand this because, again, I'm like a carefree, if it's not perfect, oh well, type of a person. But if you want to pencil your letters out, you definitely can. With this typewriter style font, I'm going to just do all lowercase to keep it simplified right now. So let's go ahead and write happy birthday. So this is our final card. And I think what I'm gonna do, just to give it a little definition up here, is just add a dashed line underneath. So I'll give it a little bit of a border and then just add a dashed line. Just following that border of where we had the tape. Okay, and here is our final result. Just a simple card that anybody can do with a few different supplies.